Welcome back to the place where murmurs turn into thunder and every glance carries a backstory. You're watching Whispers of Turkish Stars, the corner of the internet that doesn't blink when the spotlight burns hottest. Thank you for letting us into your day. Before we pull the thread on today's unraveling, make sure you're subscribed. If our deep dives matter to you and you want to keep this kind of storytelling alive, consider tapping that join button beneath the video. Your support is what keeps our little constellation lit. Now, inhale, steady your heart, and lean in, because this is a tale of leaving, of late-night confessions, and the strength it takes to choose a different horizon. It started on a colorless morning at Istanbul airport, the kind of morning that makes secrets feel safe. Except the secret wasn't hiding, it was striding toward departures with unmistakable intent. Elçin Sango, flame-haired, guarded, a storm behind dark lenses, moved through the terminal without her usual entourage. Just her manager at her side and a porter trailing a small mountain of suitcases. This didn't look like a weekend escape or a spur-of-the-moment reset. It had the hard edges of a decision hammered out in silence. The sunglasses weren't just armor against camera flashes, they shielded eyes that looked raw from too many sleepless nights or from seeing one truth too clearly to ignore. A reporter stepped into her path with a question so gentle it almost apologized for existing. No performative smile. No easy line about new projects or time off. Elçin stopped, the passport in her hand tensing as if it were the last tether to a life she was moments from leaving. She offered one sentence, nothing more, a quiet detonation that traveled farther than any headline: "I just need a change." And then she disappeared behind the frosted doors of the VIP lounge, leaving a flurry of whispers pooling like fog in her wake. That line didn't feel like a casual shrug. It sounded like a manifesto, the clack of a lock turning on a chapter fans prayed would never end. As the day unspooled, another layer surfaced. Voices from real estate circles began to hum with the same melody. This wasn't a temporary relocation, it was a relocation of the soul. Rumor mapped the route to Barcelona. Not a flashy penthouse on a tourist boulevard, but a quiet, storied residence with high ceilings and old stone, tucked between sun-warmed streets and the breath of the Mediterranean. Someone close to her circle confided what many suspected: she wants to begin again, somewhere that doesn't ask her to play the same part over and over, somewhere she can hear her own thoughts. Barcelona isn't accidental. It's a city that carries passion lightly, a city of painters' windows and long, anonymous shadows on late afternoons. It's a place where an actress can be a person first, where she can rest and reignite without eyes cataloging every heartbeat. But why now? Is she running toward a dream, or away from a memory that will not stop replaying? People don't uproot their lives unless the ground beneath them has turned unfriendly. Was it Istanbul's noise, or the voices inside it? Was it the grind of expectations, or one person whose absence hurt more than their presence ever could? Here's where the story slipped out of sight a week before anyone saw the suitcases. While the cameras were busy, the real storm hid in private. Insiders who navigate the same rooms tell us that Barış Arduç was threaded through the final days of this decision. There was a conversation long, taut, and painfully honest. Between the two former co-stars whose chemistry once set screens ablaze and built a nation of believers. Barış, the man who usually wears composure like a second skin, was said to have cracked around the edges. When he learned that her plans were no longer hypothetical, he asked her to reconsider. The plea wasn't theatrical. It was stripped bare. "I don't understand why you want to leave now, when things could be better between us," he reportedly said. Not as a colleague making a case, but as someone watching a thread fray that he'd always assumed they'd find a way to mend. Witnesses who heard echoes of that moment described the aftermath more than the argument: a man pacing rooms he used to stride through, suddenly unsure where to put his hands, realizing that time had stopped offering second chances. What did he mean by things could be better? Was there a quiet revival that no one caught? Or was that sentence the last match struck in a dark room, one final spark before the lights went out? For those who have followed every glance and sidelong smile, this is the question that won't sit still. And now, we want to hear you. Do you believe Elçin is right to unspool herself from a city that kept misreading her, even if it means leaving Barış on the other side of the sea? Is stepping away a retreat, or is it the bravest way to protect what's left of yourself? The comments are yours. Tell us what your heart says. And if you want backstage access to our investigations, consider joining our inner circle by clicking that join button. You'll get exclusive badges and a front row seat to the theories shaping this saga. Because in this world, the personal always tangles with the professional, and the next slide in a story is often a new job offer. What we've learned adds another voltage to the narrative. This move isn't just emotional, it's strategic. An industry source, seasoned enough to know a power play when they see one, told us that Elçin has been offered the lead in a European series. A heavyweight studio from Spain wants a bridge Turkish soul threaded through European sensibilities, and they wrote a complicated, bruised, beautiful character with her in mind. The project is big, expensive, and hungry for the kind of presence that has made her name mean something far beyond ratings. The twist? Months ago, before the ink was even dry on the latest rumors, that very project flickered across Barry's desk. He declined. Maybe the timing was wrong, maybe the role didn't sing to him, maybe he was guarding a different season. But the refusal matters now in a way it didn't then. If Elçin signs where he drew a line, if she steps onto a set he chose to step around, some say it's her way of refusing to orbit anyone else's decisions. It's a declaration that she intends to breathe without checking how much air is left in someone else's lungs. One journalist put it more bluntly, she's tired of her choices being read through him. Taking this role is the cleanest sentence she could write about independence. As Elçin tilts toward the Catalan sun, Barış has stayed in Istanbul, navigating a city that suddenly feels louder for his silence. He was spotted in Bebek, leaving a restaurant alone. No swagger, no smiles for the cameras, just that contained, unreachable look that fans have learned to read as a shield. Questions flew at him about flights and goodbyes. He didn't break stride. He didn't swing back with a denial or a quip. He slipped into his car, and the door closed on a cloud of microphones. But silence is not the same as indifference. Friends, real friends, the kind who know what his voice sounds like when the room empties, say the news took the ground out from under him. He thought there was still a conversation to have, one more night where they'd peel back the layers and name what hurt and what still held. He reached out after their argument, sent messages that, if not unread, were certainly unanswered. Her quiet became the punctuation at the end of a sentence neither of them wanted to finish. And then there's the audience, the chorus that has been there since the first scene that made them a phenomenon. Outside the studio where some of Elçin's most beloved scenes were filmed, we met a fan with tears she didn't bother to hide. If she's leaving to find peace, I'm proud of her, she said, voice shaking. But it feels like a book missing its last chapter. They made us believe in something even when they never spelled it out. Online, the divide is stark. Some are celebrating her leap, calling it a blueprint for every actress who wants to carry her story across borders. Others are grieving what feels like the curtain call of the El Bar dream, a myth so luminous it felt real. Weeks before the airport, Elçin gave an interview and left a line behind that now reads like a breadcrumb. Loving also means letting go, she said, and at the time it sounded like philosophy. Today it sounds like a warning she gave herself, a truth she tucked into a pocket for the day she'd need courage more than applause. And then, with a timing that made the internet hold its breath, she spoke without speaking, a photograph, sunlight pouring over a terrace, the Mediterranean stretched into forever. No glossy press statement. No PR script. Just a still life of calm and 3 words in a caption, starting over, without fear. The comments came like a tide, and among them, one rose to the top, I hope you find what Barış couldn't give you. That line carries 1,000 unsent messages. It holds tenderness and disappointment in the same poem, acknowledges the love that stitched 2 names together and the fracture that pulled them apart. So here we are. Elçin Sangu is rewriting her map in Barcelona, a city that will let her walk streets where no one points and whispers her past. Barış Arduç is tracing quieter paths through Istanbul, the city that made them both icons and now watches him keep his counsel. This was never just gossip. It is the price of ambition paid in private, the ache of goodbyes that were never said out loud, the soft terror and relief that come with choosing yourself. What waits for her under those Catalan skies? A role that fits like a second skin, perhaps, and mornings without the sound of old expectations knocking. Will he stay silent, or will there be one final crossing, a text answered, a flight taken, a door opened not for argument but for clarity? Or is this the moment both of them accept that distance can be a boundary and a bomb? We'll be here, watching the horizon for new light and relaying every spark that matters, right here on Whispers of Turkish Stars. If you felt this story in your chest, drop a like, share your theory, and tell us what you think that one sentence, "I just need a change," really meant. And don't forget to subscribe and hit join if you want to keep these investigations possibilities, not memories. We'll keep our eyes on their skies, and our feet steady on the ground. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and listen for what isn't being said but is felt by everyone.